broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology News of the Week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host and technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise. Our co-host Mike Corday is in studio today. He's an award-winning author and a human behavior expert. Now, we're live streaming you and our show on 4 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube and Twitch TV, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we have added X back again. So there you go. Elon Musk and all of his craziness, we're giving him some money so you can see us on that. Now, if you like our show, we ask you to become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/TechTime Radio. We're friends from different backgrounds, but we bring the best technology show possible weekly for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Odie, our producer, at the control panel today. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
Today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, buckle up as we dive into the latest technology news and stories. Here's what we have coming up on the show today. Today we have a lineup of topics that are going to keep you hooked better than Peter Pan. We got the 23andMe is in trouble, and we explore the challenges they're currently facing. We explore the possibilities of a major shakeup in the tech industry involving AMD and Intel. OpenAI has something up its sleeves that could change how we use AI, and a new feature for ChatGPT. Meanwhile, Netflix is changing its content lineup, which may surprise you. We also look at DocuSign's API being misused unexpectedly to actually cause scamming issues. And then, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the Google launch. There's a special date and time today that we're going to be talking about on that. Plus, if you have an iPhone 14, you're going to want to stay tuned because we have something that can save you money and fix your phone. In our feature segment letters, we're going to dive into the most bizarre emails I received this week, from dubious scans to clever phishing attempts and outright mistruths disguised as legitimate emails. As we break them down and have a good laugh, we're learning how to spot these digital traps. In addition, we have our technology standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment, our technology fail of the week, a possible Nathan Nugget, and of course, our pick of the day whiskey tasting to see if our selected whiskey pick gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show. But now, it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right, OpenAI is rolling out a web search feature for ChatGPT to take over the search market. And soon, Apple users will be able to integrate OpenAI's ChatGPT into Siri. Let's go to Karen Westland for more on this story.
OpenAI takes the fight to Google as ChatGPT search begins to roll out. The ChatGPT search lets users converse with its AI to find quick, relevant information for their query. The feature also displays a Sources button so users can fact-check the AI or learn more about a subject. The idea is that you will replace using Google's main search page and instead start using ChatGPT's new search. Can someone replace Google? Sam Altman is trying to do something many companies have tried before and have failed. Back to you in the studio.
All right, let's talk about Apple. All right, first off, it's reported that Apple isn't paying Sam Altman a dime, but rather giving exposure soon for Apple users who are going to be able to integrate with OpenAI's ChatGPT in December when the iOS 18.2 rolls out, which should supercharge Siri and a few other features with smart AI. Now, ChatGPT has a new search engine function. Users are able to type something into the text box and click a little blue search button, and then artificial intelligence will automatically search the web. If you have questions, it will then highlight those questions, call and ask for more information, but also provide you the links of each of those items and where the sources are getting its information so that you can then click on the links, pretty much like what Bing has done. Are you familiar with the ChatGPT Bing search? Mike?
Yes.
Okay,
I occasionally use that.
Do you use it?
Yes.
And what do you think about it? You still have the search on the left, and you kind of have the ChatGPT window that opens on the right. You like that, or?
I'm not believing that I'm going to say this, but I like using it better than Google because Google sends me to a bunch of freaking ads. And
yeah.
When I query what is it called? The Copilot?
Yep, that's exactly
When
it.
I query the Copilot, it gives me the answer. Although it is obnoxious in the way that it like asks follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Like,
would you like more information on this?
No, it's like, how do you like playing that game? Would you like to know more about it? Or something like that. I'm like, I don't want to converse with you. I just want an answer to my question.
You just, okay, I get
just
it.
answer them.
Answer the question. There you go.
effing question.
All right. Okay. Well, this is what AI is trying to do. They are trying to replace Google search. And you know what? If anybody's got a chance to do it, I think OpenAI has a shot. Now, we're going to bring Mark back in for our Whiskey Mumble. He's played with it. He's not the biggest, I think, fan of that. We're going to ask him what he liked and didn't like about that also. All right. But now let's go on.
Well, I'm pretty sure that as time goes on, it will start, throwing up more stupid stuff.
I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty good because you're paying for it, right? So people are paying to use their service so that you get their money. You don't. But if you're using Bing to use it, Bing and Microsoft have paid to use the service and incorporate it. So
but as soon as somebody figures out how to monetize advertisements, it's going to start doing that instead.
Then it responds to you and says something.
Yeah, it's going to say, "Hey, this is where you
want to buy
this
some
information. Go to
toilet paper. I
Yeah,
can send it
go
to
to
you right
Amazon.com and here you can buy all kinds of toilet paper."
All right, let's just see what Odie has for story number 2.
Netflix is delisting all but 4 of its interactive titles by December 1st. The streaming service kicked off its foray into interactive titles in 2017, and there was a time when Netflix was putting out a new interactive special every few months or so, but it's been over a year since the last one dropped in 2023. It's a pity because the most recent title, Choose Love, finally delivered on the dating sim potential of these interactives. However, come December, Choose Love will be removed from the platform along with my other favorite interactive titles like Barbie Epic Road Trip, You vs. Wild Out Cold, the best of the Bear Grylls themed interactives, and Escape the Undertaker, which surprised me in how interested it made me in the WWE lore.
Okay.
Is this a choose your adventure thing?
These are like
Netflix movies?
Yes.
Have you done that on Netflix at all?
No, I don't have a Netflix.
No, this was way back when.
Yeah,
this has been going on since 2017.
Yeah, so these are like interactive stories.
Yeah.
I have never heard of this before.
Really?
No.
It was kind of a big deal. So they have a whole studio. Netflix came on out with the Choose Your Own Adventure. You can you watch a scene and then it kind of gives you 2 options with the remote and you hit up or down and you can choose between different items. So
seriously?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's doing a whole interactive
How did I know about this? Because you're like the king of choose your adventure crap.
Oh, I
You
do.
like those?
Oh, I love Choose Your Own Adventures.
He's the king of choose your own adventure.
I got the very first Choose Your Own Adventures when I was a little kid.
Don't start.
So,
okay.
If you ever wanted to help Barbie achieve her dreams, or if you'd like to get a slightly amnesiac Bear Grylls out of the wilderness, you should load up on these titles sooner rather than later. The only 4 titles that will remain are Black Mirror Bandersnatch, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Kimmy vs. the Reverend, Ranveer vs. the Wild with Bear Grylls, and You vs. Wild.
Oh, see, Barbie doesn't need any help.
Well,
this doesn't mean that Netflix is doing away entirely with interactive titles tied to their existing franchises. Netflix has an official visual novel app called Netflix Stories in the line of episode and choices, stories you play. And it's exclusively built around their shows.
okay.
I feel like this would be really too much of a pain in the neck to sit there and be clicking.
Some of them are
remote.
kind of fun. When Black Mirror was really big, I did the Black Mirror Bandersnatch, and I enjoyed that a little bit.
So I there was like 3 or 4 that I did, and I enjoyed all of them. And then
Did you do the Bear Grylls one?
I did not do the Bear Grylls one. I did the cartoon. There was a cartoon one that I did, and
Jurassic Park?
no, there was
Were you
another
just
cartoon with
Larry?
a fox. There was some type of
With a
fox.
fox?
Yeah, with a fox. You're trying to escape
With Netflix?
Yeah, with Netflix.
Okay.
That interactive one in there, and I think it didn't do too well, so they removed it. It was kind of cartoonish. And then I did the other, what is it, the rom-com one, the original one that came on out. I forget the name of it, but I did 2 of them, and I thought they were pretty good. I think interactive television, interactive movies is something that we should look forward to in the future.
I feel like that's more of like a VR thing, though. That shouldn't be something that a studio focuses on.
I don't want.
You don't think so?
No. See, that takes the whole.
That's a game.
Okay.
That takes everything away from the reason why you watch a movie. You watch a movie so you don't have to do anything. You just watch the movie and veg out. You don't watch it so you can go, oh, click, let's do this, and let's make Barbie go over here instead of over there.
See, I disagree with that, because if I could put myself into like the Star Wars universe and then have my own choose adventure that way, I'd love to do that.
Well,
but I don't want to.
Have you played the new Outlaw, Star Wars Outlaw?
No, but I want to specifically play a Star Wars game. I want to play the game.
Why do we want a video movie game?
Exactly.
Why?
I don't think Netflix did it the correct way.
So then you can choose if you shoot it first. Like, it'd be like Han Solo.
Han
do
shot
I choose
first, man.
Do I choose?
There's no doubt
first, or do I wait till he shoots me?
There's no question on that. Han shot first.
All right. Okay. Well, so are you a big Netflix subscriber, Odie?
Not lately.
Okay. What have you been watching? I've been watching a lot of Prime lately.
You know what I've been watching?
What?
The only thing that Netflix got me back on was because they have Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
Because I was
been watching
watching
the grass grow.
SVU, and I had
The paint
to
dry.
change the aura.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Aura guy, you ready?
Oh.
Aura.
Yeah, there you go. Story number 3. Well, maybe not Aura, but let's talk about, I guess, DNA.
Well, let's talk about 23andMe, shall we?
Okay, let's talk about this company.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
you remember James on our show, way before 23andMe had a security breach, said that he was scared about people having our DNA out.
This is like the one thing that I paid attention to.
You did, right?
Yeah.
So James was like...
Yeah,
James called it.
And you
He did.
couldn't even interact with it. See,
No.
there you go.
So,
Exactly.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, 23andMe is fighting for survival. 3 years ago, the DNA testing firm was a massive success and had a share price higher than Apple.
Yep.
But those heady days of millions of people rushing to send in saliva samples in return for detailed reports about their ancestry, family connections, and genetic makeup, its share price has plummeted. And this week, it narrowly avoided being delisted from the stock market. Of course, this is a company that holds the most sensitive data imaginable about its customers, raising troubling questions about what may happen to its huge and extremely valuable database of individual human DNA.
Okay.
23andMe says it remains committed to protecting customer data and consistently focused on maintaining the privacy of our customers, except for when they get hacked and China steals everything. But how did what once the most talked about tech firms get into a position where it has to answer questions about its very survival? With famous customers including Snoop Dogg, Oprah, Eva Longoria, and Warren Buffett, some people discovered that their parents were not who they were. Shame, shame. And that they had a genetic disposition to serious health conditions. Its share price rocketed to $321 per share back in the day.
Yep.
Fast forward 3 years, and that price slumped to just under $5.
Just think if you actually bought it when it was like $162.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
What do you do? The problems at 23andMe are reflected in the turmoil in its leadership. The board resigned in the summer, and only the CEO and co-founder, Anne Wojcicki,
Okay.
sister of the late YouTube bot Susan Wojcicki, and ex-wife of Google co-founder Sergey Brin. Hey, how about that?
There you go.
They're all connected. Remains from the original lineup. 23andMe's co-founder and CEO has publicly shared that she intends to take the company private and is not open to considering third-party takeover proposals. What happens to the DNA, though?
Oh, yeah. That's kind of the big part, right?
Yeah, companies rising and falling is nothing new, especially in tech, but 23andMe is different. It's worrying because of the sensitivity of the data, and we've talked about this on at least 3 other occasions on the show.
Yep.
Not just for the individuals who have used the firm. If you gave your data to 23andMe, you also have the genetic data of your parents, your siblings, your children, and even distant kin who did not consent.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too, right? So let's say I had my uncle decided to go and do 23andMe. So now the whole Mumm genetic line, out there to an extent is now available. I don't want that to be out there.
Well, they would be able to identify your parents, but only half of your children, unless your wife threw in with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
23andMe terms of service and privacy statement would remain in place unless and until customers are presented with and agree to new terms and statements. There are also legal protections which apply in the UK under its version of the data protection law, GDPR, whether the firm goes bust or changes hands. Even so, all companies can be hacked, and 23andMe was hacked
About 12 months ago?
about a year ago.
About a year ago this time, yep.
Ultimately, a much more robust approach is needed if they want to keep their most personal information safe.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we say that on this show. That seems to be that we should change the show motto to
Keep your information safe?
yeah, keep your information.
Don't put it out there on the internet.
Invest in paper.
There you go.
The terms and conditions of these companies are typically incredibly inclusive. When you give out your personal data to them, you allow them to do pretty much anything they want with it. But if bankruptcy happens, so the buyout of assets would not hold the same legal protections, which we talked about at length.
We have. And James talked about that in length too, right?
Yep. So the question is whether or not the U.S. government should step in and save this private company. And that question has many people rethinking the DNA-based companies in the private sector.
So, I mean, that kind of is interesting, right? Let's say 23andMe does go private, and let's say they're struggling for money and they have a whole bunch of finance people that decide to come from outside the United States, say China, let's say.
Well, China's not going to buy it. They already hacked it.
Well, that's okay. But other companies that are looking at it, all of a sudden now we're into a big problem where that information has gotten out. The original agreements that everybody signed on haven't been kept to place, and there you go.
There you go.
That's-
The only thing that is maybe a positive is that there's so much information out. I don't know if anybody knows what to do with it.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of individuals in the hacking community that all they're trying to do is consolidate all the databases that are out there so that they can actually have a tree of information, because there's so many data breaches with so much information out there. There's almost now too much to have information regarding one person.
We've pretty much learned on this show that if you have any presence at all anywhere on the internet, your information has probably been hacked somewhere along the lines. And it's not because of your fault. It's because of other places like, your hospital. You know,
I mean, that's the worst thing. You can't do anything about your hospital.
Was it Kaiser that got hacked?
Yep. Yeah, Kaiser Permanente, and so did, what was the other one? Regents got hacked also. Yep.
Yeah, so,
All right, well, are you interested in this? This is next
data.
Yeah, tons. So let's talk about story number 4.
Yeah, we all know that as a result of this show, I want to live in a cabin.
Well, come on, technology is great. It just needs to be protected.
It's great when you turn it off.
Have you heard of a company called Intel?
Yeah.
So Intel used to be the
Pentium
biggest
chips,
company.
Baby.
It used to be like the biggest company in the United States for processors. Everything was Intel Pentium, Intel Pentium 2, Intel i5s, i3s. Well, guess what?
What?
AMD is looking to buy Intel. It's on the table, experts say. When thinking about AMD and Intel is exactly what they are, fierce rivals. However, the U.S. government is encouraging Intel to consider a merger with a rival such as AMD to counteract the intense financial trouble the company has been in over the past several months. Intel just released its earnings for the third quarter of the year, where the company revealed that it had lost $16.6 billion. This is a third quarter. This isn't for the whole year. This is the third quarter. It lost $16.6 billion. Year over year, Intel's net profits margins have dropped by more than 6,000%. That's not a typo. Intel is bleeding money, and according to the report, the U.S. government sees chip maker as too important to go under. Another one of these companies that are struggling.
What?
We have 23andMe, and now we have Intel.
But they're suggesting that AMD buys it.
Yes, because AMD is financially responsible. They didn't go on out. They've always been number 2, or sometimes even they're now number 3 chip processor, but they didn't have huge debts. They didn't have huge loans. What's interesting about this is the United States government gives tons of grant money to Intel. but Intel has spent too much money, and there's this poor company that was a nobody 3 years ago called NVIDIA that just made graphics cards.
I'm just thinking it's kind of interesting that they want to start a monopoly.
Well, here's the problem. Well, NVIDIA actually now owns the
it.
processing market because of all ChatGPT and all these other new
way to go,
services.
NVIDIA.
They're using GPUs. Bitcoin mining machines use GPUs. Everybody decided to not use the processor to build their new technology, but decided to use graphic processing units instead. And Intel, was that?
It's because they're better.
And they're faster. And so Intel never kind of clicked up into that area and said, okay, well, the graphics cards be the graphics cards. We're still going to be doing the coprocessor. And Intel is in major trouble. In other words,
Yeah, but I just think it's, ironic that the U.S. government would be like, oh, yeah, let your competitor buy you, and then they'll own the whole.
well, I think they're
part of
trying
the
to
share of
compete
the
against
market.
NVIDIA. NVIDIA is so big now that AMD is the third with Intel. Would maybe be then you have NVIDIA and Intel AMD as one. I actually think Intel in the next 2 to 3 years
maybe
could
a ploy
disappear.
to keep NVIDIA from monopolizing the market.
I think that's trying to do that. All right. Well, that ends our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, we have our letter segment up next with a phishing attempt, not on a boat, but on emails to try to trick you into sharing your data or taking your hard-earned money. You're going to want to tune in to protect yourself and others. You're listening to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. See you after the commercial break.
This is Mark
And Greg,
for Copiers Northwest
with a terrific offer.
called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner.
One of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service.
as long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest.
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers.
Or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives.
And let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love-love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
All right, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts, and we do it in a sense of humor. Less than 60 minutes. And, of course, with a little whiskey on the side. Today, Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, is back in the studio 400. Mark,
Well, hello, gentlemen.
what have you chosen for us today?
Today is Barrel Craft Spirits Single Barrel Cast Strength. It's their private barrel Z5 S9.
Okay.
Now, from Barrel's owner, Joe Beatrice, he says this bourbon from this bottle is one individual barrel selected for its distinctive characteristics. Bottled at cast strength, each barrel yields between 120 and 190 bottles. Experience the flavor of a true single barrel bottled bourbon. That's a tongue twister there.
Bottom bourbon?
A bottle bourbon.
Bottle bourbon. Bottom.
Now, it's from Barrel Craft Spirits. The distillation is not their own. They source that from Indiana Distillery, which is soon to be MGP. It's straight bourbon. It's almost 9 years old. It's 110.64 proof. Mash bill is undisclosed, and the price is around $80.
$80.
$80.
Oh, boy. Okay. Now, last week's was fantastic. Last week was fantastic.
Don't compare it to last week's there.
I still have last week's kind of on my mind because the bottle stayed here a little bit, and then maybe I had a little bit after the show and a little bit longer. So I'm not really liking this. This has got a bitter taste.
Well, take a break, go slug some Canadian mist,
Okay.
and then come back, and that'll be great.
Oh, it'll be good then. Okay.
Yeah. Try resetting your palate because this is a sweet bomb.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later.
It's sweet and peppery.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you're back.
Well, thank you.
I missed you last week. All right. Okay.
We talked a lot of crap about you while you were gone.
Oh, I listened to the
actually,
show.
Nathan talked a lot of crap.
All right. Well, with our first whiskey tasting completed, let's move on to our feature segment. Today, we're bringing back the funny yet informative reading of emails that I received during the week. These include scam, phishing emails, and all-out mistruths disguised as legitimate emails in a segment we call Letters.
We get letters. We get back and the letters all have fun.
All right, we should start off with the Odie's first. Odie, what do you have in front of you?
I have something from Coinbase.
Okay.
Saying you're obligated to set up Coinbase self-custodial wallet by January 1st of 2025.
Okay. These are coming on out really aggressively. Now, what email address was that sent from?
It was sent from info@belmontpeanuts.com.
What?
I want some peanuts.
So let's talk about that. So okay, so I get an email like that. What's your first thinking on this?
Don't click it. It says to learn more about Coinbase Wallet, you can click here.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, you have received this email from Belmont Peanuts. If you would like to unsubscribe, click here.
So it's interesting, isn't it?
So it's not from Coinbase.
So it's not from Coinbase. And their end unsubscribe note that they have, because they actually send it out through a legitimate service. They send it out through SurveyMonkey, which they can do.
Okay.
So it actually came and it looks very formatted correctly. It looks like it was pretty much there. I do have a Coinbase account. So Coinbase actually sent out information that you do need to update your account before. So they had all of the right information, made it through a legitimate service, but if you click on that link, you're going to go to a completely different site other than Coinbase, and you're going to be in trouble.
Also, another thing to note, when looking at the image itself, there's no errors. There's, it has that scarcity mindset of the secure high value assets in big, bold letters, So it really does try to trick you.
It does. So be careful. End of the year stuff is coming on out, right? So you're going to get end of the year taxes. You're going to get tons of end of the year stuff. All right. Let's go now. Mark, do you have one there? You have a very interesting one.
I do.
And this is going to be coming up on our technology fail. So I don't want to give too much away, but here you go. Let's talk about this.
I'll kind of lead it a little bit then. So this one came to Nathan Mumm, seeing if you received your DocuSign application for your business line of credit from SNH Consultants.
Okay.
And Sean Harbour wrote you, CEO wrote you.
That's from the loan company.
And pretty much it just says, did you receive the DocuSign? We need your bank statements. Please finish the application. Start your application. There's a little button there. And there's even a little video about a testimonial from somebody from Hemet, California.
Oh,
okay.
Sean right there on the little
video.
video.
Yeah, a little video on that and everything. Okay, so guess what happens when you click on the link? So I printed out the page that you have next.
Yeah, I read that one. That's why I know what's going on.
Okay, so it's a fake link in itself. But what's happening right now are tons of people are getting into DocuSign. And what they've done is they actually use the API we're going to be talking about on our technology fail. And these are coming on out from DocuSign. If you look at that, that looks like it comes from DocuSign. So it looks like it's legitimate and all the information is there. They actually are using DocuSign's API to send it out. When you click on the document itself, it actually opens up and it looked just like a DocuSign document. But when you actually look at the back end of where it wasn't going to DocuSign. It was going to their one-off site that was available there.
Yeah, with ZED, jab, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. So it was a hidden site. But right now, DocuSign, and we're going to be talking about it on our fail, has been breached with their API. So do not click on DocuSign documents that are coming to you unless you verify that those are legitimate. So if someone sends you a DocuSign and you're not expecting it, please pick up the phone and call the person to confirm because they have been breached with their API.
Yeah, don't email them back on the same email string.
Do not email them back on the same email string, and do not click on the document that looks like it came from DocuSign.
Just get rid of your email altogether.
All right. Well, I don't think you want to do that either. All right. All right, Mr. Gourdet. What do we have up next for you?
I have something here to Nathan for a payment receipt from Diane Babbles.
Oh, okay.
Or Babeless.
Or Babeless.
Or Bables.
Bables, okay.
But the email address is kelseydamian@gmail.com.
What? How's Kelsey being?
How is Kelsey and Diane?
Maybe they call her Diane as a different name?
Who knows?
It's okay.
Bad form. Dear Nathan Mumm at hotmail.com. So they don't even know your full, they don't even personalize your name. They just auto-populate
They're just going to use the email address.
Could you please provide more details about the payment receipt you need? They forgot an N.
That you need, so it's you need.
For example.
So it sounds real, just like I'm typing.
Yeah. For example, are you looking for a template, information on how to create one? No O. or something else specific. Need to cancel or modify your. I assume that this that I have in my second hand is the attachment.
That is the PDF. Yep.
And this is from PayPal. It's an invoice.
Okay.
Dear PayPal customer, we noticed an unauthorized transaction from your PayPal account. Shame.
Okay.
This transaction was not made by you. Kindly call us for cancellation of this order. Otherwise, your $789.99 USD will be charged.
And it has a help number on there.
Look at there. Yes, Bitcoin crypto was the. I guess.
So how much Bitcoin did it say I actually purchased for $700?
0.0867.
So that's not even right. So if that was the case, that 0.08, so 0.1. Right now, Bitcoin's up to $70,000. So if you actually did the math here, I actually kind of want to say, no, I'm okay with this purchase because I got it at a heck of a deal if I actually purchased
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's a great deal. So I want to call them up and say, yes, please charge my account for that. Can you tell me where my Bitcoin is?
Okay. Did you call the helpline?
I did call the help number. And it was already been disconnected. So they were probably using a voice over IP service that has already been canceled.
Check your emails from emails.
Don't click on the links, right?
And don't click on the links.
And don't respond to something if you get something from DocuSign that says you need to get it taken care of. Don't
like
respond
I said,
to
get rid of your email altogether.
No, Mr. Gourdet. Email needs to be in.
Your boss
every day.
doesn't need you to email them back about when you're taking the day off.
Okay, all right. Here's what we got. Now, last but not least, hi, Nathan. We're conducting a study focused on development process and software applications. And we're inviting you as a key decision maker and influencer to participate in a 90-minute focus group discussion. This session will explore the types of software being developed across organizations to gain insight, development strategies, challenges. We're specifically looking to engage technology professionals from companies with over 250 employees. As a thank you, you meet this. Participating will receive a $590 incentive for your time and insight. So first of all, I don't work for a company.
$590
So $590 for my time and effort to sit and participate in a 90-minute focus group. Wow. So that is literally 90 minutes. So that's an hour and a half. So that's like $300 an hour. They're willing to pay me.
Well, that's a pretty good deal.
You're worth it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mark, very much.
Don't do that.
Now, this is a company I've never heard of. It's called Zentro. That's the senior research analyst. They have a phone number with extension. I called the 617-936-0153 number, and I tried the extension number, and Zentro does not answer. So it goes to an Indian call center that answers and say, hello, how can I help you?
And did you say, hey, I want my $590?
So I said this, and they said, oh, let me transfer you. Right. And so he puts me on hold, and all of a sudden, I swear it's the same guy. I'm sure he just transferred me to himself. And then he's like, oh, yes, we are interested in this. I just have to do a pre-application survey before we can know if you're eligible for the survey. Now, there are companies that do this, and I have done this. So that doesn't mean that this idea is necessarily a scam. What I've never been paid, though, is $590 for 90 minutes. Normally, you get $75. Well, you get maybe a $50
I think you should
gift
go
card.
For that.
Well, yeah. So I haven't been paid this amount. So I played along, as I like to do, and they started asking me questions, and they started getting really specific, like, okay, tell me about this. Who do you bank with? Who do you use for? And they started going on this huge tangent. I said, well, what does this have to do with software development processes? Well, our software is really important for cross-group collaboration. We work with finances. We work with this. We work with this. So they were trying to say that this company,
good line.
Yeah, it was actually, if you're not paying attention to it, I think you could get sucked into it. So you got to be careful. This was too good to be true. Now, there are places that pay for you to go and attend events. I know, Mark, you were just at like a conference that just did that, right?
You mean I wasn't hunting illegal whiskeys?
No, you weren't. Well, were you hunting? Did you find an illegal whiskey?
I did not.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you weren't hunting illegal whiskey.
I was not.
I went to a place the other day that has whiskey from the Prohibition era.
Wow. Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Where's that? Where was it at?
I'll tell you at the break.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So the big thing here is $590. Too expensive to be paying someone that to actually participate in a survey. Don't get caught with a scam. If it's too good to be true, then it is. All right. Well, guess what? That ends our segment letters. Now we have Mike's mesmerizing moment. Welcome to Mike's mesmerizing moment. What does Mike have to say today? All right, here's my question for you, Mike. Should companies that go out of business still honor privacy regarding their content?
You know, I feel like we've talked about this before.
We have. This is kind of a repeat question, but it's a good time to bring this back up again.
Well, we all know that I have a lot of problems with this kind of stuff. So should they still honor their privacy? Yes, they should.
Okay.
If say a company that's similar to, something that sounds maybe like 22andMe.
Okay. Yeah.
Goes out of business and they have your DNA and somebody comes in and buys that, they should not be able to buy your DNA without getting some sort of,
release
consent from you.
Okay.
Because that's a very sneaky way of that's basically a behind the run hack.
Okay. So we had a speaker come on in here from Tiki. We had a guest speaker back in a couple of years ago, and they were a company that was going to try to have you sign up for their services, and they were going to pay you for you to share your information online, and you were going to get a check back from them. So this company did a bunch of information and gathering, and they were a startup idea. The owner, I think, and the founder were honest on what they were trying to do, but they ended up running out of business. Now they have this huge data of information they collected from these people.
Mm-hmm.
Should they be able to sell that?
No, I think they should not be able to sell that.
Hang on a second on that one, because people sold their data to them with the understanding that would be shared, right?
Yes, but they were going to get paid back.
Oh, they haven't been paid
and
yet.
None of the people have been paid.
Okay.
They all shared their information, filled out profiles for this information. None of them have been paid. And then they decide to go out of business and sell that to somebody else that comes on in for assets.
In an industry in which your information is the stock in trade.
Yeah.
I think anything that can protect that would be something worthwhile. I don't think companies should be able to, like 23andMe. I don't think if they get a buyout that you would be able to have access to that data, but that's just me.
Okay.
Well, that part I fully agree with. The other one with yours is a little bit more. It's just like another company coming by assets. They still have to honor the original contract. So you can sell the data, assuming that you fulfill the contract of paying those people.
Well, now the new company comes on in and they don't have the same process. They're not trying to
I mean,
give
just
you
like when you buy
paycheck.
a company, you take on not just their assets, but you take on their current vendor contracts and other contracts that you still are obligated to.
But all they have to do is like do some publication of a TOS or something and change the terms of service.
Yes. So it's interesting now because a lot of the startup companies down in the California Silicon area are going out of business. Other companies are coming on in. They've had a lot of assets, a lot of time and sweat equity for these startups to deal, and they're changing the information that they're buying. They're not necessarily using what the original owner intended for data collection, and now they're collecting that as a part of their data.
Cabin in the woods. I'm just saying, cabin in the woods.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. All right. Well, thank you for that mesmerizing moment, Mike. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy that little whiskey on the side, as we're going to be doing so during the break. You're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, so you know what? We need people to start liking our social media pages.
If you like our show, if you really like us, we could use your support on patreon.com.
Or is it Patreon? I think it's Patreon.
Okay, Patreon. If you really like us, you can.
And you say I'm the English guy?
Patreon.com.
I butcher the English language?
You know you butcher the English language.
Okay, so it's
all the time.
It's Patreon.com.
Patreon.com. If you really like our show, you can subscribe to patreon.com and help us out.
Oh, and you can visit us on that Facebook platform. You know, the one that Zuckerberg owns?
The one that we always bag on?
Yeah, you can. We're on Facebook, too.
Yeah, like us on Facebook.
Do you know what our Facebook page is?
TechTime Radio.
At TechTime Radio. Yeah. You know what? There's a trend here.
It seems to be that there's a trend, and that's TechTime Radio.
Or you can even Instagram with us.
And that's at TechTime Radio.
That's at TechTime Radio. Or you can find us on TikTok.
And it's TechTime Radio.
It's at TechTime Radio.
Like and subscribe to our social media.
Like us today. We need you to like us.
Like us and subscribe. That's it?
That's it. That's that simple.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, we're going on our way back machine to November 5th, 2007. Google introduces the Android platform. It's a mobile operating system for cell phones based on a modified version of the Linux operating system. The first Android-based phone would ship September 2008, almost a year later, as the T-Mobile G1, the HTC Dream. Now let's talk about Android. Do you know that Android holds 70.89% of the global smartphone market? Well, iPhone iOS only holds 28.37%.
No kidding.
Do you know that 3 billion Android phones are being used right now around the world?
How interesting.
So Android is by far a dominant global leader. We were just over in Japan. I saw maybe one iPhone to every 10 to 20 Android phones that were there. Samsung was just all over.
Only Nathan
Japan.
would go to Japan to count iPhones.
Well, I did. Well, yeah. Isn't that something you look at to make sure you?
No, I don't. I don't look at it.
Okay.
I know. I have a preference, and I know why I have that preference.
You like Android, right?
Yeah. Apparently, I'm with the 70.89% of the population, the global population.
So is Mark. I think Mark is too. Mark is too. Yeah. Odie, are you an Android person too?
I will never have an Android.
Okay,
I will never
all right,
succumb.
okay.
I do have to complain though, because there are certain
What? You're gonna
things about
complain?
my iPhone that
Okay.
works better than my Android.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to watch some tech time history with over 220 plus weekly broadcasts spanning 4+ years in video podcasts, blog information, you can visit us at TechTime-Radio.com to watch our older shows or take a look, of course, at our whiskey ratings for all of our whiskey. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have the Mark Mumble Whiskey Review. See you after the break.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for, Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
Okay, Mumble.
All right, gentlemen, November 5th. I did a little twist. We all know it's election day. That was a little too obvious.
Okay.
So what else is today?
Don't leave your house because
November
it's election
5th.
day.
November. Is it like some patriotic day?
You can't be logical.
Wow. What?
Is it a patriotic
It's
day?
kind of close.
It's National Donut Day.
I feel like that's a very
Is it
American
close?
thing. Yeah.
Is that pretty good?
No,
Oh.
you're wrong. But
What is it?
it's National Football Day. American football.
Oh,
Day.
American Football Day.
American
Oh, we should have some NFL music. Did you watch that
No,
game
'cause
last
that's
night?
Copyright.
I watched the end of it.
Oh, man. Tampa Bay. Oh, they should have gone for 2.
Anyway,
Okay, continue it on. Okay.
So American Football Day celebrates the USA's most popular sport
Oh, it's
and
fantastic.
reminds us all that it's mid-season and we should probably check our fantasy teams.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
All 10 of them.
Now, as football has turned into America's national sport, bourbon is America's national spirit.
Okay.
Today's bourbon we are discussing is from Barrel Craft Spirits, founded by Joe Betrice. He's a former marketing and technology entrepreneur. Thank you. Joe founded his first company, Blue Dingo Digital, in the 1990s to help companies use the internet to establish brand and grow their products. Now, in 2013, he launched Barrel Craft Spirits. Joe Betrice is sort of like you and I, Nathan.
What's that?
He analyzes every small detail.
Oh, okay.
Now, he studies hundreds of label variations to learn why consumers will pay $20 more if a label is on the lower third of the bottle.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Even the name Barrel came from weeks of debating various monikers, including Blue Dingo, which is similar to Blue Zebra, which you were a part of in your past.
I do remember that.
Before he landed on Barrel.
Okay.
In the end, Betrice believed the name would explain exactly what was in the bottle. Whiskey straight from the barrel. Now, for my palate, This bourbon leads with sweetness. I get white sugar, honey, a bit of caramel, and then at the end, it rounds out with a little wood to balance it out. For me, it's a nice sipper, not overly complex, quite delicious, especially after a meal.
Okay. All right. Maybe the meal part is important because it's...
You got a good point. So I've had it a few times already. It's, like I said, overly sweet for me, but every time it's been after food. This is the first time I've had it as the first drink of the day before food.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit more of the spice, of the wood. Mike mentioned pepper.
Yep.
I could see that in it, and a little bitterness. But you add a little food or get your palate accommodated a little bit, sweetness.
All right. Okay. Well, Mark, thanks for that mumble.
You're welcome.
As always, whiskey and technology are a great pairing, just like election season and overload of political commercials.
Woo-hoo, that was a good one.
There you go. All right, let's prepare for our technology fail of the week by Elite Executive Services.
We are out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh. I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right. Well, this week's failure comes to us online from a software company called DocuSign. Threat actors are abusing DocuSign's envelope API, which is essentially the code to interact with DocuSign, to create a mass disruptive fake invoices that appear genuine, impersonating well-known brands like Norton and PayPal. Using a legitimate services, the attackers bypass email security protections as they come from an actual DocuSign domain, DocuSign.net. The goal is to have these targets e-sign the signatures, which then can use to authorize payments independent from the company's billing departments. DocuSign is an electronic signage signature platform that enables digital signing, sending, and managing documents. The envelope API is core to component of DocuSign's e-signature REST API, allowing developers to create, send, and manage document containers that define the signing process. The API is meant to help customers automate and send documents that need signing, track their status, and retrieve them when signed. If user e-signs this document, the attacker can then use the signed document to request payment from the organization outside of DocuSign, or send the signed document through DocuSign to the financial department for payments. Other attempts have included different invoices with different items, usually following the same pattern of getting signatures for invoices and then authorizing payment into the attacker's bank account. Here's what DocuSign says as a public comment. We are aware of the report and take them very seriously. Well, in the interest of security, we don't disclose specifics that could alert bad actors to our prevention tactics. DocuSign has a number of technical systems and teams in place to help prevent misuse of our service. We'll continuously monitor several layers of our system to identify behaviors as they are associated with fraud and illegal activity so they can quickly investigate and act to stop suspicious behavior. All right.
Wow.
So what that's saying is, yes, we know this happened. No, we're not going to admit that it happened out into the global press. We're going to monitor it. Hopefully you don't get scammed. And if you do, and we're lucky enough to notice that,
It's your fault.
maybe we can take care of it. That's exactly what it's saying.
That just tells me bottom line, they don't know how to fix it yet.
They do not. Yeah. That's exactly what what this means is, yes, you're right. Yes, somebody has breached us. Yes, we know that something's going on here that's illegal. We don't know what the fix is. We don't know what the cause is. We don't know how to take next actions, but we're going to continuously monitor several layers of our systems to identify behaviors that are associated with fraud and illegal activity.
Yeah, I hope your listeners are paying attention to this segment.
Yep.
And maybe even replay it a few times, because this is pretty significant, this breach.
Yes.
More so than a lot of the other ones that we hear about that have global implications, but nothing that much happens. This one comes across as a legitimate DocuSign envelope.
Yep.
And the scam ratio of this becomes very high.
Snail mail.
So snail mail.
That's right. Cabin in the woods and mailman.
Mailman delivering you.
Mailman delivering.
Did you
stuff.
have a big shotgun on your cabin in the woods?
Absolutely.
Just to keep everybody off.
You have your shotgun.
You be the unlucky one, Mike.
And my notebook with all the passwords that I don't ever use anymore because I got rid of all my technology.
You would get the mailman that stores all the mail in his basement.
Yeah, you get that guy.
All right, we're gonna head out.
Newman.
Actually, you know what? We're not gonna go to our next commercial break. We're gonna go right to our Nathan Nugget.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, let's talk about this. This is good. Some iPhone 14 Plus phones have camera issues, but Apple says that they will fix them for free.
That's because
now, I'm a thrifty guy.
Because they're not Android.
Well, okay. Well, there you go, Android guy. But let's talk about this. Apple will actually fix these issues.
There's a company stepping up.
Yeah. So instead of saying, "Oh, this is a problem," they said, "Yeah, this was a problem. You spent $1,500 to $2,000 on this phone. We're going to take care of it." Here's Apple's specific definition of the affected phones according to their service program page. Apple's determined that the rear camera on a very small percentage of the iPhone 14 Plus devices may exhibit no preview. Affected devices were manufactured between April 10th, 2023 to April 28th, 2024. If your iPhone Plus is affected, iPhone 14 Plus, and you enter your serial number on our program page to see if yours is, Apple says that it will use...
When you say ours, you mean Apple's page.
Apple's. So their page, sorry. So you enter your serial number on the program page to see if your phone's is one of the phones that is there. Apple says that it will authorize service providers to fix your camera for free. If you've already paid to have your camera repaired, Apple says to reach out to them, and they will also get you a refund. Eligible phones will be covered by this program for 3 years after they were originally sold. Apple occasionally launches these type of service programs to offer repairs for its products, like one to fix receivers on iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro phones, and to fix AirPod Pros that make crackling or static sounds. Now, you know what? That you got to give credit to Apple. They had a manufacturing error. They were absolutely able to identify it. I love it when they actually then know it's probably some
this
chip.
is like a recall.
Yeah, so April 10th to April 28th, 2024. So about a year, they know that this chip probably had a faulty problem. And instead of having to have this no preview, and you know what? The no preview is important, but probably people have lived without it and probably didn't think that it was even available for them on that. But if it has an issue now, you can go and get it fixed for free.
Plus, it's cheaper than getting sued.
Well, it is probably cheaper to get in soon. All right, there you go. Now, you know what, though? Let's move to our pick of the day.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
What is bubbling today in our glasses is Barrel Craft Spirits, single barrel cast strength. It's a private barrel, Z5S9. It is distilled from MGP, straight bourbon, almost 9 years old, 110.64 proof, $80.
$80. All right. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think, Mike?
Oh, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I really like it.
You going to give it a thumbs up?
Got the combination of pepper and sweetness for me. So,
well, okay. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to
try one more sip.
Try one more sip.
Try one more sip.
You know you're going to give it a thumbs up because you can't compare it to last week's whiskey.
This is $80 though, right?
Oh, he's going to
Which
pull
is
a
a
cheap
pretty
card.
good deal in the bourbon world now.
Is that a pretty good deal?
It's got a cork top.
It does have a cork top. Odie knows what I like. It's the cork top. You know what, Mark? I'm actually going to put a thumbs down.
All right.
And and maybe if I had food with it, and I didn't. So if I had food with it, maybe that would change my mind. Or maybe, you know what? This may be a really good smoking whiskey, a little cigar whiskey that you have when you're smoking a cigar and then you have a little whiskey.
I don't smoke, but I could see a lot of smoke bourbons are heavy in wood and overly sweet. Okay. I could see that fitting.
Can you give me the stats one more time about this whiskey?
For you?
Yes, for me. Okay, thank you.
Barrel Craft Spirits, distilled in Indiana from MGP, straight bourbon, almost 9 years. It is 110.64 proof, mash bills undisclosed, and it is $80 for this bottle.
All right. I'm going to say down.
And Nathan gave it a thumbs up.
No, I gave it a thumbs down. All right. Before we end our show, as we play out, let's talk a little bit. X. You know, I pulled up an article reading this. X was supposed to be a bank by now. You remember Elon Musk said he wanted to turn Twitter into the town square and everything app. He failed to do both so far. As we're seeing a year later, he's essentially bought Twitter, and within a year, he said that this turned it into
he's just turned it into a Elon platform for himself to do stuff with.
Well, you know what's interesting is that people are fact checking on some of the stuff that he posts online.
Yeah,
he is less than 3% correct when he posts stuff online.
Is this surprising?
Most of that is fake news.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? But this is supposed to
Having
be the
his
platform.
own bots.
I
checked
don't
him?
believe that
Yes.
at all. 'Cause I
why do you
believe
think
everything Elon says.
When he took it over, why do you think he got rid of all those departments that do all the checking?
So that I guess he could post whatever he wants. I just
Yeah.
can't
That's
believe
my
that
conspiracy theory.
X today is nowhere near what Twitter was before. But there's no other
Agreed.
platform,
It's-
so
it's
just-
not. I saw an article about it. It's
Threads?
not even a social media anymore.
I know. There you go.
Threads is there, but it's not the same caliber of Twitter.
It's not. It's just kind of hanging there.
It's crap.
All right. Well, what do you think of Studio 400? You liking it, Mark?
Yeah, this is fun.
Is this fun?
I love our background.
You like our background?
I feel
spacious. You feel spacious? All right. Okay. Well, we want to thank everybody. It was an honor to have our show today. You know what? You make us a successful show. So we can't wait forward to seeing you next week where circuits collides, sing, and geeks reign supreme. I'm your host,
Later.
Nathan Mumm. See you with the binary wink.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to TechTimeRadio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/TechTimeRadio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mum's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.